Hello everybody and welcome back. In this video we are going to continue our conversation about arithmetic sequences, but in this video we're going to not only determine whether a sequence is considered arithmetic by finding the common difference. The second thing we're going to do is also find the explicit formula for that particular arithmetic sequence. But then we're going to take it a step further and add an extra step and determine a particular number in that position of that sequence. So we're doing three things. So I just want to remind you, in order for us to determine whether something is arithmetic or not, it has to have the same number that's being added or subtracted. So we're not trying to multiply these numbers or divide them. We're trying to find the number that gets us from one term to another, and it has to be the same number every single time for it to be arithmetic. Okay. From there, we're going to determine that common difference. That's going to be our slope. We're going to pick a point and then start using our point-slope formula to find the formula for the arithmetic sequence, and then use that same formula to find a new number in the sequence. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at this one right here. So as you can tell, we're looking at this sequence and we're going from a -32 to a -28. So the only way we can get from a -32 to a -28 is if we're adding 4. So we're going to add 4, and then we're going to look at -28 to a -24. Once again, we're adding 4. And then from a -24 to a -20, we're also adding 4. So because the difference between all these sequences, all these numbers, is the same, and it's a positive 4 every single time, our common difference is 4. And since we're using the point-slope formula, we're just going to say that our slope is also a positive 4, because that's how these numbers are changing. Now I'm going to put right above the -32 a 1, and then a 2, 3, and 4. Now remember, we're going to use these as points: 1 and -32, 2 and -28, and so on. Now these are the position. So this is the first number, this is the second number, the third, and the fourth. So these numbers up here that are going to be our x values are also considered the position, the term in the sequence. Now that's going to be more important when we have to do the last step, but for right now, let's pick a point and let's use our point-slope formula. So if you forgot what point-slope looks like, I'm going to go ahead and write it out so we can use it as a reference. In the previous video, it was already printed on the front of our paper. Alright, so from here, you can see that our slope, our positive 4, is going to go right here. But the point that we use, we're going to need the x and the y to go here. And remember, we're going to have to change their signs. So let's pick a point. If it doesn't matter, let's go ahead and use 4 and -20. So the fourth number in the sequence is -20. And we're going to call that our x1, y1. So let me fix this. So our y1 is a -20, so we're going to write it in as a positive 20. Is equal to our common difference, or our slope, is a positive 4. And then since our x value is a positive 4, we're going to change it to a negative. So x minus 4. Now from here, we're going to distribute the 4, and then we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. So let's go ahead and distribute first. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times a -4 is a -16. That is a positive 20. So we're going to add it to, we're going to subtract it from both sides. Okay. And so from here, we have the equation y is equal to 4x. Because both of these are negative, it's going to be a -36. Now this is the formula that we need to be able to do the last part. So if you look over here in the right next to it, they're telling us, now the A just means position, the number in the 27th position. So because we're using the x's to determine the position of the sequence, this right here is going to be our x value. So we're going to say x is equal to 27. So if they gave us the x value, then it is our job to use the formula that we just created to find the y value, because we're trying to determine what number would be in the 27th place in the sequence. So if I kept counting by 4, which one would be the 27th number? That's basically what it's asking us for. So we're going to take the formula. We know that x is 27. So we're going to say y is equal 4 times 27 minus 36. And there's actually nothing to do here except for simplify. Once we multiply 4 and 27, and then whatever that number is subtracted by 36, that is going to be the answer we're looking for. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is multiply 4 and 27. So 4 times 27 gives us 108. And then 108 minus 36 is going to be 72. So we're going to bring down the y is equal to 72. So we now know that the 27th number in the sequence is going to be 72. So if I keep on adding 4 all the way to 27 times, the number would be 72. And that's it. So we're determining if it's arithmetic. We're writing the equation, and we're using the equation to find a very specific number. So let's do that a couple more times so you can kind of see the pattern. All right, so our second example here, we just need to figure out how this number is changing. So from here, I'm going to go from 16 to 46, and it looks like we're just adding 30 there. All right, from 46 to 76, once again, we're adding 30. And then from 76 to 106, we're also adding 30. So because we're adding 30 every single time, this is arithmetic. So with that being said, our common difference is 30, which means that we're going to use that as our slope. A positive 30 is going to be our slope because that's how our sequence is changing. Then I'm going to go ahead and number our sequence. Okay, so this is first number, second number, third number, fourth number, and then so on. So we just need to pick a point so we can use our point slope form. So I'm going to use 2 and 46. And remember, it does not matter which one you use because they're all going to simplify and give us the same formula. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and write it out. We're going to say y, that's a positive 46, so negative 46 is equal to 30, x minus 2. All right, we're going to multiply by 30. So that gives us 30x minus 60. And because this is a negative 46, let's add it to both sides. So we get y is equal to 30x. And that's going to give us negative 14. Right. So now that we have our formula, we're going to go over here to the side and notice that it's asking us what number is in the 36th position of the sequence. So that tells us that our x was given to us. So the position is 36. So the number we're looking for is going to be the y. And so we just need to use the formula we just used. So we're going to plug it in. We're going to say y is equal to 30 times 36. Because we're going to add 30 36 times. But then we're going to subtract 14 from it. Alright, so if you do 30 times 36, it's a big number. It's going to give us 1080 minus 14. So let's subtract 14. So our y value would be 1066. And so this is the number. So the number that would be in position 36 of the sequence would be 1066. Okay, last one, and the reason the last problem here is important is because I noticed that every single example that we did, our common difference or our slope has been a positive number. And I need you to understand that even though all these examples, the common difference was a positive number, we had to add, that's not always the case. Sometimes we have to subtract. So let's look at an example where we're subtracting as well. All right, so our common difference can be a negative number. So let's look at the sequence right here. So in order to get from 18 to 10, we need to subtract 8. Okay, and then to get from 10 to 6, we have to subtract 4. And from 6 to 4, we need to subtract 2. So unfortunately, this one's actually not going to work out like I wanted it to, because even though we're subtracting, notice that these numbers are not the same. So in order for it to be an arithmetic sequence, they have to be subtracting by the same number every time. So I just want to make sure you understand that even though this one didn't work out because we were subtracting, it is possible to subtract from the same number and have a negative common difference or a negative slope. But for this one, it's not going to be arithmetic, so we're not going to be able to go through the steps or to determine what the 16th term is using this formula. So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and write in not arithmetic sequence and then move on from there. Okay? So I hope by looking at some of these examples, you feel a little bit better about how to determine whether something is arithmetic, how to find the explicit formula for that sequence, and if it is, how to determine a very specific term number in for that sequence. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and stop right here, and I'll see you guys in the next videos.